The next topic that I'd like to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, is Trump's win in the United States of America. Put your hand up if you're happy that Trump won in the USA. Now, ladies and gentlemen, bear with me. I want to read an article from Newsweek when my internet gets working. Come on. Come on. Let's try that again. Right. I'm reading from Newsweek, ladies and gentlemen. As Tuesday night transitioned into the start of Wednesday, a sense of deja vu from 2016. Sorry, I lost it because something came up. Settled in. Oh dear, go away adverts. Like Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, hopes of becoming the first female president crumbled, along with the so-called blue wall of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin and Michigan. But there was another reason it felt like 2016 again. At an exit poll number, an initial 2016 exit poll findings showed that 81% of white evangelicals backed Donald Trump. Quickly became perhaps the most cited number about the state of religion and politics in the United States. On Tuesday night, NBC News released an exit poll data with the same number. 81% of white evangelicals voted for Donald Trump. It should be noted that numbers can move a bit as more data is added. In 2016, it eventually dropped to 80%. In 8 years, the white evangelical vote hasn't really moved. Evangelicals for Harris, the vote for the common good, and the Harris campaign itself spent millions this year trying to reach those voters for the Democratic nominee. Reporters wrote dozens of articles exploring the question of whether Harris could win over evangelicals on election day. Charlie Brown again missed the football. However, it would be a mistake to blame white evangelicals. Notice the language of Newsweek. It would be a mistake to blame white evangelicals for the electoral shift to Trump. In each of the last 3 presidential elections, about 8 in 10 white evangelicals voted for Trump. They've been amongst his most loyal supporters and do not therefore explain how Joe Biden won while Harris lost. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to point out something. The religious group that really matters from Tuesday, this Tuesday, is the Catholic vote. The exit polls 4 years ago put Biden narrowly winning amongst Catholics, though later numbers that were probably more accurate had him narrowly losing either way. The virtual tie was an important improvement over Clinton's standing in 2016. Exit poll data on Tuesday shows Harris losing Catholic voters by 18 percentage points. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, the election victory of Trump was an election victory of the Holy Church, Protestant and Catholic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to explain why there was such a move over, ladies and gentlemen. Why did so many Catholics, as well as evangelical Protestants, reject Harris? Because Harris made it her voting intention to talk about what she called female fertility rights. And by that, she meant the abortion of children up to 9 months old. She put, ladies and gentlemen, the murder of children as the reason to vote for her. She assumed that all women would support her because of the idea of abortion, as if all women support late-term abortion. And she also put on the ballot box the idea of trans ideology, the idea that women don't actually exist, ladies and gentlemen, and that instead of women, there are men, and then there's this morphic group called women that you can self-identify as if all women support this ideology. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, they put a toxic woman up against Trump. And I think that explains why Trump lost, ladies and gentlemen. And I've got to admit, I did find it funny when you saw the left-wing media having a meltdown as it was announced that Trump was going to win the election, ladies and gentlemen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that meltdown demonstrates the left-wing media bias. It demonstrates how the media are trying to influence our thinking about Trump and about a great many number of other issues. And so, ladies and gentlemen, since Christians did win it for Trump, I have a message for Trump. And I invite Father Calvin, who is my friend, to clip this next bit and add and send this clip to Vance, Vice President Vance, and President Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen. So, here is what, as a Christian, I want to see from a Trump administration. And if you're an American Christian and you agree with this, then make sure Trump sees it. Make sure Vice President Vance sees it. Trump, President-elect Trump and Vice President-elect Vance, we ask you to stand up for the persecuted church around the world and to use American might, American resources and American military power to defend persecuted Christians around the world in places like Lebanon, where Maronite Christians want to free their homeland from Islamists like Hezbollah, who occupy their homelands, to support the liberation of northern Cyprus, occupied by Turkey since the 1970s, in which Christians were ethnically and religiously cleansed from northern Cyprus.
I'll debate you on that.
To support Armenia in its battle against Azerbaijan.
I would agree with you there.
And to isolate Azerbaijan for its ethnic and religious cleansing against Armenian Christians in the region of Artsakh.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
To put on sanctions against Pakistan for Pakistan's cruel and harsh treatment against minorities, chief amongst which are its 2 million Christians. and call for the abolition of Pakistan's blasphemy law, to support the Karen Christians of Burma in their fight against a Buddhist nationalist junta that is seeking to wipe them out and drive them out of Burma, their historical homelands.
I don't want to disturb him.
To apply pressure on the government of Egypt for its persecution of over 15 million Coptic Christians who suffer regularly from anti-Christian pogroms, desecration of churches, everyday harassment and discrimination. To militarily support the Christians of Nigeria in their fight against Boko Haram and other Islamist-inspired movements like the Fulani tribe, who are persecuting and killing tens of thousands of Christians in Nigeria. To stand against the government of North Sudan that has driven, and the armed groups fighting in North Sudan, who have both conspired to drive out the entire population of Christians from North Sudan, and to help the Christians of South Sudan fight against the Janjaweed, who launch Islamist attacks across the border against Christian villages, capturing slaves and destroying Christian villages. To support the Ethiopian government in fighting against the Islamist insurgency that has emerged in the northern regions of Ethiopia and along the borders of Somalia, and to topple the Eritrean government that is actively persecuting Christians right now in the Horn of Africa. We call upon this Christian Vice President to advocate, and for this Christian President to pass laws to further restrict abortion in the USA down to the limit that has been observed by the early births of children outside of the womb. So any viable birth age, which I think is at 22 weeks, that we should lower abortion and make all abortion in America above 22 weeks illegal. That the US federal government should give federal tax breaks to marriages that match the historical definition as defined by the Christian faith. That the US government crack down on Islamists in Michigan and take seriously the Islamist threat in the prison system of the USA. That the USA government kicks Turkey out of NATO. Turkey is no friend of the West. It will betray us at the first opportunity. Turkey is responsible for the desecration of the Hagia Sophia Church, the occupation of northern Cyprus, for supporting Azerbaijan's ethnic cleansing of Armenia, and is historically responsible for the Armenian, Syriac and Greek genocides. We are essentially allied to the equivalent of Nazi Germany. That all those Christians who are in prison for protesting against abortion, ladies and gentlemen, should receive a presidential pardon in the USA. That, furthermore, all Christian charities operating in the USA should be freed from any expectation to live up to the LGBTQ agenda in their practice in the United States or abroad, and that the US federal government stops pushing the LGBTQ agenda into Africa, as it is trying to do in Kenya and in Uganda, trading aid for LGBTQ rights. Stop insulting African Christian culture. Any questions on the topic, ladies and gentlemen?
Questions on the topic.
Why do you think there should be military intervention in Turkey? I'll debate you on that.
The better of the, I don't want to say two evils because no one's perfect. We're not going to get a perfect Christian in office. You can't be.
So the question, bro, I know the question is,
Thank you.
Trump lesser of two evils,
Yes.
because he's not perfect.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yes.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, Trump is the better candidate out of Trump and Harris. Here's why.
Why?
Harris, Harris, at her election rally,
Okay.
when someone cried out, "Christ is King,"
No, she said Jesus is Lord. You're lying.
turned around
You're lying.
and said, "You're at the wrong rally."
You're misquoting.
Whereas,
Well, you are
when
misquoting.
someone
You are
cried out,
misquoting.
"Christ is
You are
King,"
misquoting.
at the Trump rally,
What happened?
the Vice President said, "Amen."
Amen. Yeah. Jesus is Lord.
Harris stands for late-term abortion and is a notorious anti-Catholic.
Jeez.
Whereas Vice President Trump,
Okay.
President Trump and Vice President Vance,
Vance.
ladies and gentlemen, are both practicing Christians. The fact that they are not perfect Christians is irrelevant, because who amongst their critics is a perfect Christian? Next question.
Do you think that there should? Oh, okay.
In last days, are we expecting prosecution?
A question on the topic, sister. On the topic.
So you,
Do you think?
really believe that Trump is actually a Christian? Because I don't know how to take him.
So the question is, do I consider Trump to be a Christian? Yes, I do. Do I think, ladies and gentlemen, that he is a perfect human being who has never sinned? No, I don't.
No way.
But I know
Yeah.
that Trump is a better candidate than a candidate who campaigned for killing 9-month-old babies in the womb. Any other questions on the topic of the US election?
Bob.
I'm not taking any from him,
No,
so
you're a coward.
anyone else.
Howard, I've got a question for you on why Trump was
Going
elected.
once,
Going once. Go and run, Bob. I've only got a simple question for
going
you.
twice.
Going twice. You're a
Twice.
coward.
You're
a
all going to
coward.
miss
You are
your
preaching
opportunity
heresy. You
to
are
ask a
preaching heresy.
question because
Do you
you're
think
watching
that we
him.
should have separation of church and state?
Going three
Going
times.
3 times.
Okay,
Go,
I'll move
Bob.
on to my next
Run,
topic.
Run. You're a chicken. You're a chicken. You will not debate. I only ask a simple
Unfortunately,
question.
ladies and gentlemen,
you are a liar. You are a
Speaker's
coward.
Corner
You are a coward.
attracts people with mental health issues.
Oh, are you saying I've got
This
mental
brother
health?
has
You
mental
are
health
a coward.
issues.
You are a coward.
And he
You're a
looks for
coward.
fame
You're a
by
coward.
doing
You're
this.
a coward. I've got a question
So,
for you.
I am not going to talk.
You would
You might as well
the church and
turn off your
if it came up
cameras.
and stick it on your
Take
arse.
back your
You are a
microphone.
joke. You are a coward.
Because
You
I'm
are
not
a
going
coward.
to talk.
You are
Please
a
go and
coward.
enjoy your day
You are a
and
coward.
go and listen to someone else.
You are
because nothing
preaching
is
a
happening
false
here.
Gospel, and that is why you run.
Thank you, Bob.
You
Well
run.
done, well done,
You
Bob.
are a coward.
Well
you
done,
are
Bob.
a faggot.
Well done, Bob. Well done,
Oh,
well done.
run, you little chicken.